Hello YouTube family, and welcome back to my channel. Sage Priestley here, the seasoned lady. And once again, I have my sister, Miss Jasmine Adonis Priestley, with me to do a second video during our Thanksgiving weekend. Now, originally we had planned to do one video and talk about tradition versus things happening today. And as many families do, we had someone stop by, and while we were waiting on things to quiet down so that we could record the video, we kind of asked him some questions to get his take on some things. And he gave us some really good footage that we felt like we really needed to share with you guys. So if you're interested in hearing what we discussed, I think it would be really good for a lot of people. Not something we had planned to cover over the holiday, but nonetheless, really, really good. So stay tuned. We have a very interesting chat for you. So let's get into it. When is it just not enough? So we were talking traditional relationships and traditional things versus how things are today. And we had a friend stop by who happens to be in a what I consider a long-term relationship between 3 to 5 years. He and this young lady have 2 children together. And I just asked him, what is it? Or when we were talking to him about the video we were going to do, I referred to her as his wife. And he corrected me and said girlfriend. So that led me to ask the compelling question, what is it about her that, makes you question whether or not she's the one? Why haven't you proposed? Why isn't she your wife? You guys have been together for several years. You have 2 children together. Just what is it that is left for her to do in order for you to seal the deal? And he had some very interesting things to say. So I'm going to let Jasmine kick off with the first one, and then I'm going to follow up, and we're going to have a little back and forth here. Basically the things that he said that we feel are really important for relationships today, and just what we think needs to happen to fix it. Like I always say in every video, this is a solution-based video. So we're not going to kiki and laugh about somebody's relationships problems. I think everybody has dealt with this at some point in our lives. Even these seasoned individuals, sometimes we get set in our ways and we lose our way. So we're here to help you out. So I'm going to let Jasmine kick this thing off. She'll start by reintroducing herself, and then she'll tell you a little bit about how we decided to do a second video for tonight.
That's right. So good evening, everyone. I am Jasmine Adonis Priestley, Sage's younger and only sister. And so as she mentioned, we were talking to a very close family friend about his relationship. And so there were several things he told us, but we're going to focus on 3 of them this evening. And the first thing he mentioned was the fact that she has a lack of ambition. And so that lack of ambition was basically geared towards herself, as well as helping him be more ambitious as well. And so one of the things that he shared that I don't want to say it concerned me, but it did give me pause, was the fact that, he's aspiring to do more, has a very entrepreneurial spirit. And so while he's out and about trying to make a way for his family, one of the things that she's constantly doing is, if he's not at home, and mind you, he is off working and doing different things, she's constantly calling him. She wants him to be under her all the time. And so it's like, well, what time are you coming home? Or what are you doing now? And so instead of, giving him that extra encouragement and motivation to feed that ambition, it's kind of almost borderline, nagging. And so one of the things when I think about my own relationship, my husband works a lot. He does a lot of different things. He has a traditional job. He does general contracting. He's a referee. He does a lot. And so it's not my expectation, that he's under me all the time, because I understand what he's doing is for the greater good of our family. And when we're together, we're together. But it was just one of those things where our friend, just really wished his girlfriend, as he called it, would just have a little more ambition in terms of the things she wants to accomplish in life, as well as being a little more supportive towards the things that he's aspiring to do currently.
So what would you say to anyone in that position? What is one sentence advice that you would give the young ladies and the young men that have inspiring entrepreneurs. He has a very lucrative business already, and he could be doing so much more if he wasn't concerned about her being insecure about him being out and about. So what would be maybe one sentence that you would give advice to those that find themselves in that similar situation?
Yeah, I would definitely say be supportive of that significant other. Be supportive of your spouse and allow them to do the things that will definitely enhance the family as a unit, the family unit as a whole.
And as we discussed in our video, the previous video, we got to have someone with a plan, and we got to have someone that's willing to help execute the plan. And in their situation, he has a plan that he wants to see come to fruition, and she's not very ambitious, so she doesn't have any insight or a way to offer him, ideas in order to enhance his business. She would just prefer that he get it done and get home. And that's just not the way. If that's the way things are gonna be in your relationship, an entrepreneurial spirit is going to be crushed. You need a 9-to-5 job where you go in and you get off at a certain time, and your significant other can expect what time you're gonna be home. If you're going to be ambitious, a man that's on his purpose and trying to get through it needs someone that understands that. He cannot be under you 24/7 and secure the things that he wants to secure. So, we kind of chatted him through that. We kind of wish that she was here for us to offer her a little bit of insight. She would probably die if she knew the conversation that we had today. So that's why we felt like it was really important to bring that to you guys, because I know there are a lot of people that feel that way, and we just want people to kind of change their thought process. If you have someone that's working hard and is doing everything that they can for the family, you need to support that. And if you don't find that you can support that, I don't suggest staying in a relationship for that extended period of time, let alone having more than one child.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of which, having more than one child, he indicated that she has gotten what he considers or what he calls a bit lazy. And having been a single mom and having very busy children involved in sports and all sorts of activities, when I was his age and when I was dealing in the relationship that I was in at the time, I can absolutely relate to what they're going through. When your kids are busy, when you work, when he works, it's very difficult to find time to do the things that you need to do. But we can't get lazy. We absolutely cannot get lazy. There are things that have to be done around the house. And if you allow things to pile up, then it's only going to get worse. My suggestion is if you are preparing a meal, you need to clean as you go. And if you're cooking, he should do the dishes, and vice versa. And he just happened to mention to us that when she cooks, he does the dishes, and when he cooks, he does the dishes. So when you have someone that's out, hustling, trying to make things happen, teamwork makes the dream work. If you do laundry, you don't let laundry pile up on the couch and you don't fold it up. You do have to take the time to clean the bathroom at least once a week. And when you have small children, you have to pick up behind them. The last thing a man wants to do is come home from a hard day's work and he has to do all the work. I'm not saying that we should subscribe to traditional roles when you both work, but if you let things pile up, things will pile up. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add about the laziness? Did I miss anything with that?
No, I would just say, to your point, it's a shared responsibility. So, if you both work, it's not necessarily, the wife's responsibility or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband's responsibility. Is a shared responsibility. And so, but I will say, when you do things along the way, like when I cook, I clean as I go. And so after we're done eating, the only thing that needs to be washed up, it's the dinnerware we had our meal on, but everything else is done. And so I just think, you just kind of got to band together. Like we said in the last video, relationships are partnerships, and one person shouldn't have to bear, all of the work and the responsibility.
Absolutely not. We're not subscribing to traditional roles, but it does take two. And if it's going to take two to make things work financially, it takes two to make things work, around the house. And as grown people, something shouldn't have to be said to you more than one time. And one of the things that we did talk to him about was communication. Are you communicating these things, to her? You're in a relationship. She wants to be married. you want to marry her, but you've got these little things that are preventing you from, popping the question. Now, we're going to get to the main thing. The main thing is the main thing, and y'all know what the main thing is. We as women understand that sometimes what we did to get him, we're not willing to do to keep him, especially after having two babies. And they are babies. They are, 10, 11 months apart. And like I said, we all get tired. We all get exhausted. One of the things that he did mention to us is that she wants him under her at all times. Well, if your expectation is that a man is going to be under you, he wants you to be under him from time to time, and we got to make sure that we do that. All the tricks that we pull out the bag to get him, we got to keep doing it, ladies. We can't all of a sudden slack off, especially if you haven't sealed the deal. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying stop doing what you're doing after you're married, but heaven forbid, if your goal is marriage, you certainly have to do what you need, to do. So I'm gonna let her expound on that a little bit more, because she is married. She does, know what it means to have to maintain those things, and we were taught well, coming up. So I'm gonna let her, discuss that just a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, just like we talked about in the last video, we talked a lot about family being the foundation. And so every time I talk to people, I always go back to what I was taught. And one of the things that my grandmother taught all of us is don't start anything you can't keep up, right? And so when he was sharing with us how, when they dated, before they got in a committed relationship where they were living together and everything, he lived a considerable distance away from her, and she would drive over there. And I mean, he would have the time of his life and she would drive back home. And now that they're under the same roof, it's not like that anymore. When it was all the time, going to maybe once a week to, I don't even remember the last time. So it kept resonating to me. Don't start anything you can't keep up. So whether it's that, whether it's cooking or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I've always, well, at least in my marriage, when I do extra things, it's always a treat, right? Because I never started anything that I could not keep up.
That's right.
And so that has been the foundational principle. Well, one of the foundational principles that my relationship is built upon. And so that was something I shared with him. He's a communicator. And again, had she been with him tonight, these are things we would have shared with her. But as we talked, it's kind of like, you know what? Everybody experiencing these things, hence the reason for this video. So if I could leave you with anything, don't start nothing you can't keep up.
That's exactly right. I watch so many YouTube videos, so many podcasts filled with men that are constantly complaining that all the freaky deaky things she did to get him, she's not willing to continue to do to keep him. And my mom has a very dear friend that one time told me, if he's not doing it with you, you can be guaranteed that he's doing it with somebody else. Now, exclusivity is what we all say we want. We all say we want the best possible relationships we can have. And much like she said, if you can't keep it up, don't start doing it. And if things slow down a bit and he comes to you and communicates with you, you need to not make excuses. You need to put that in the back of your mind and not make him have to ask you again, because they will do what they need to do to keep confusion down, and then you find yourself in a situation of infidelity. And I'm not saying that it's anybody's fault when people step out or when they cheat, but when somebody says to you what they need and you don't provide it, in addition to you being a little bit lazy and him having to pick up the slack, and there's so many things he wants to do in his business, and you lack the ambition to stand beside him and push him, to be the man that he was meant to be. So we just kind of wanted to do this video real quick, not a long one, just to touch on those three things that he felt, very strongly about. And he told us how much he appreciated us and how much, he really appreciated being able to say those things out loud, because he has been married before and he has been a victim of infidelity, and he knows what that feels like, and he doesn't want to do that to someone that he so deeply cares about. But men are human too. And it goes both ways. If you're neglecting your partner, be it male or female, you can't do that. We have all been down this road. We have all raised children. We have all made our relationships a non-priority, and that's just not the way to do things. So we thank him so much for giving us some more content for tonight. We just kind of wanted to throw this little video together because we really thought it was a good topic to cover. We laughed about it a little bit, and I said, you know what, we're not gonna kiki and laugh at this situation because we've all been there, but we're gonna create a video and we're gonna talk about it. So I need for each and every individual that's in a relationship, because this channel is for seasoned individuals that want or to aspire to pair up and to be with somebody and all those things. I need to bring in individuals that are already paired up and let them, tell us what their experiences are, whether they're married or whether they're living together. And ladies, if it is your desire to get the ring, whatever you do to get it, you definitely have to continue to do to keep it. And the same with the fellas. If you start out taking care of everything, paying all the bills, the expectation is that we can depend on you to be a provider and a protector, and you won't all of a sudden stop doing that. So whatever you do in the beginning, you got to have the energy to keep it up. And good communication is key. And when someone comes to you and tells you something, you need to believe them. You don't need to think they're complaining. You don't need to think that you can just ignore it and it's going to go away. Because, you'll find yourself either having to deal with infidelity, or you'll find yourself having to start a new relationship. And those things will show up in the new relationship as well. So if you are blessed with someone that loves and cares about you, you need to make sure you take care of them and that they take care of you. So we just want to come to you real quick and do this little short video. And we thank him for bringing us, some additional content. So until the next time, it's Sage Priestley.
And Shasmin Adonis Priestley.
And we will see you in the next one. Toodles.
Bye.